Good evening. Hope everybody's doing well. Let me get my audio in my ear a little more correct. Wow. So apparently I wasn't too far off early on in the month when I said I expected, somewhere around the second week or so, things to really kind of start picking back up. Yesterday was the first indicator of that to me, and today absolutely drove the point home. So there's a lot of news that came out today. A fair amount of important news actually came out, and I don't have a whole lot of tabs up with things to talk to you about. It doesn't mean there wasn't a bunch of stuff. It was more, I didn't start actually getting my windows and stuff set up until about 10 minutes before the show, because I just overlooked doing it. I normally start about 30 minutes early and start getting the tabs all up and try to get them somewhat organized, but it slipped my mind, and at 10 minutes till I'm like, so anyway, that's no problem. Man, wow, a lot of stuff. I know the title of the show. We'll get to that here momentarily. I know many people that clicked on this video or the live show here probably clicked on it because of the title. But we've got so much going on, and so I want to make sure that there's a few things I really want to make sure to cover. First off, updates as far as we're concerned, none that I can think of. Made zero progress towards any projects today. I'm really doing good. I can't. There's nothing I can do. I don't have anything that I can work on the heater project with. I was going to take it out today and give it a good test run with the exhaust that I have set up on it. That didn't happen, so I'll probably get out tomorrow and do it. Get a good test run on it, and supposedly the silicone tubing, the first time you run it, it stinks, so I want to do that outside, and so no progress on that. I mean, I've got other projects that I am continual projects that I'm working on that, trying to think, though. I can't think of any other updates. I really need to get over to the dirtcheappreps.com website and get something up there. I'm thinking I may just go ahead and go with Joomla 3 instead of, I don't know. Joomla 4 looks really clean, and the form, Kayunina, or however it's pronounced, works. It seems to work really well and lays in very well with Joomla 4. So that's kind of the conundrum that I'm having, because it always looked kind of janky with Joomla 3. So, I want a very clean, very easily navigatable, very nice laid out website. So anyway, no progress there, because I haven't touched it at all in a little while. I hadn't even been over there. Other than that, like I say, not a lot of progress on a lot of stuff. Just it is what it is. I did learn that I need to trust myself a little better, especially when it comes to thermodynamics. We learned that the hard way. So we thought last year it would be cheaper. I thought it would be cheaper to use the same heat setup that we used in the other place, which consists of 3 oil-filled space heaters, okay, radiator type of heaters, and use 3 of those, and we have wireless thermostats. So we've got one wireless thermostat unit, and there's outlets that you plug into the wall, and you plug the heaters into those outlets, and then you just turn the heaters up full blast, and the wireless thermostat is what controls the heaters. So all 3 of the separate space heaters are controlled by one one control that's just setting right over there. So it makes it much more like a regular house furnace, because you can never get accurate with the little turn knobs on the space heaters, right? So, and that's what often will either cause somebody to freeze themselves to death or burn themselves out of the house. And I don't mean literally either way, but because you never can get them adjusted and fine-tuned right. So anyway, we thought, we're going to give the regular furnace a shot this year. And so we did. And at this point, we pretty much learned our lesson that, maybe Mike knows a little more about thermodynamics than he thought. So we got one heck of a bill coming. Not looking forward to that. And it really hadn't been cold that long, but we've got our highest bill coming yet. And like I say, it wasn't even really cold for a very long spell, not real cold or anything. So, but that was the whole idea, was to give this a shot this year, see how it turned out. Nah, we're going back to the old way. Other than that, there's no updates. I can't think of anything else. Many comments I want to make. I'm gonna refrain, I believe. I don't know. I will say this: watch who you donate. Okay, I'll whatever. Watch who you donate money to. Okay, because there are individuals out there that, from what I can see from standing afar, that are taking incredible amounts of donations. That are given with intent to go one direction, and it seems to me that it's being more used for toys. So that's all I'm going to say. That's something that's been weighing on me for several days now, and it really pisses me off. I really cannot stand when people do that. And it's a shame. It's just an absolute shame. And I'm just going to leave that at that. But just watch, because it's happening. And it's not the first time that I've seen it happen with this particular group. This is the second time. So just be careful before you donate money. That's one thing I've always been upfront with you guys about any money that's donated or anything like that. Always been upfront with you guys. I've shown you the back ends of anything. Like, we still haven't. Today, the 11th, is when you usually get figures from YouTube as to how you're doing financially. And here, let me switched it over. And I've always been upfront with you guys, right? Still nothing. So, I don't know. I don't get it. I don't know how they can get away with that, especially when there was money that was sent through a super chat to us, and we never got that. And I've got no problem proving that. So, and that's what I always said. I would be upfront. I would show you guys where we're standing. Anything that you see here, it's all from the website. We run ads at thewatchmannews.com. Hey, if you want to help us out, that's a cheap, easy way. You don't have to buy a thing. All you got to do is go to thewatchmannews.com and click on an ad or two here and there. Do it a couple of times a day or something like that. Believe me, it really helps us out. It truly does. It really, it's kind of astonishing what they pay, really, per click. And if we had enough people doing that, man, that would be awesome. But see, it's not it's not up any at all, so we didn't even get the super chat money or anything. Plus, it will list, it will show YouTube when you start having money coming in from YouTube. It will show you in the back end here, YouTube, and you don't even see it. So, yeah, that's unfortunate, but what are you gonna do? YouTube, Google is a big corporation. and I've got no way to touch them. And the only thing that I can do, and it's what my intent is there are going to be some major class action lawsuits at one point or another. And so I'm just going to kick back and I'm going to snag on to them because I've confirmed that they are playing ads on our videos. So they're playing ads, they're getting the money, but they're not giving me credit, and that's fraud. So I'm just going to sit back and, like I say, tag on to one of these. I've got a hell of a case, I know I do. I'll just tag on to one of these, and, hey, I'll turn $3.50 into whatever, $35,000 and whatever. I've got no problem with that. I'm patient. So, just be careful. That's the point of what I'm saying. In any type of charity, right? In my opinion, it's incredibly important for them to be upfront and transparent about the funds. And I will say that about any organization. And so you take organizations, for example, like, say, the Red Cross, okay? While you can go in and look at a lot of public records and stuff like that, at the same time, we already know where a lot of that money goes. And it's not good. And you know this. You know this because you can go and you can find this stuff out. You can look this stuff up. Okay? Some of these other organizations are completely quiet and hidden about their what they're doing with the money. And they claim it's for this and that and the other. Don't believe that. Don't believe that. If they had something set up to where they needed to protect where those funds, how those funds are transferred, where those funds went, and all that stuff, so you set up two different accounts. You set up one for that area of things that needs to be protected, okay, the sensitive thing, and I'll just say is supposedly to help with human trafficking. Okay, so you set that up separately. Okay, and then the rest of your ministry runs on another account that you can be transparent about. So that way people, but see, that would screw the whole game up. I'm just saying. All you got to do is sit back and look, and you'll see it. Anyway, it's not what the topic is about. The topic's about North Korea and what is going on with North Korea and my concerns. So I tell you all the time that things can change in the blink of an eye. And what is concerning at one time, the next day may not even be on the radar. And North Korea is one that I have recently said, hey, look, these guys are popping back up on the radar. We need to keep an eye on this. Well, they popped up again. They had another missile test, and I don't know if I covered that. I can't remember if I covered that yesterday or if that was this morning that I ran into. I think it might have been last night. But anyway, they did have another missile test, and it has been confirmed that it is another hypersonic missile. Now, mind you, we haven't even had a successful hypersonic missile test yet. And this is their second one. Both of them apparently successful. The difference between the two, this last one, seems to be an upgraded version. And the first one was clocked at about Mach 6. And this one was clocked at about Mach 10. So now they are right up there with the testing that China has done. I do not believe that that's coincidental. I absolutely believe that China is helping them. And what we need to understand and I've said this before. We've talked about this before, and I've specifically pointed this out. I don't see countries like Russia or China trying to commit a first strike and using an EMP. I don't see that happening. And the reason why I don't see that happening, largely, is because that's not going to put us out of the fight. I mean, that's going to screw up a lot of us. It's going to cause such massive death, widespread death through every means you can imagine. It's not going to stop the military. It's not going to stop our weapons from launching. It's not going to stop any of that. They're already hardened. We're not. Nice, huh? And so just make sure you pay your price hike on your power this year, right? Although they can't seem to harden our system. So anyway, I don't see a country like Russia or China using that as a first strike. Because again, all that's going to do, if Russia or China would EMP us, I have a feeling that the United States would declare that more or less full scale. And I mean, it would be mad or mutually assured destruction right then. I think, I really do think that would be enough to tip it off. So I don't see that happening. They don't want that. They want to win, but they don't want to blow the world up because that's kind of pointless. So North Korea, though, is a different story. The reason why is because, even though that I was saying that North Korea had nuclear missile technology long before it became official, news, they don't have near the time or many of the other things to be able to create just a huge amount of missiles. And I know, countries like China and stuff could help them achieve that. I get that. But I don't really see that happening. For one, I do think that there are ways to detect these devices, or at least some of the components to these devices. I think there's ways to track it. And I think there's far beyond ways that we're ever told about, probably related to satellites somehow, that they know when this stuff is moving. And, I don't think that they're going to have the quantity of missiles. But now they don't need it. They don't need it. All they need is to have quality. If they could launch 3 hypersonic missiles, which the Pentagon has come right out and said we have no way to defend against that. If they were to launch 3 hypersonic missiles, both tipped with EMP weapons, or all 3 I should say, tipped with EMP weapons, even if only one of them or maybe 2 of them got through, that is going to really put a damper on the United States of America. And so, while I don't really think that it's necessary at this moment to put North Korea at the top of the concern list, it's something that we better keep on the table and keep visiting, keep looking at, because these are some advancements that they are making that do most certainly threaten the United States or continental U.S. Now, there's a statement in the article more or less saying that it, not a concern for the United States. But I'm going to clarify that statement because it could be easily misread. And so I am going to go ahead and read the article here. As you see, it says North Korea claims another hypersonic missile test. And it says North Korea said it successfully tested a new hypersonic missile with leader Kim Jong-un reportedly present for the launch. Officials in Seoul have claimed the weapon was an upgraded model of a system tested last week. The test fire was aimed at making a final confirmation of the overall specifications of the developed hypersonic weapon system, the state-run Korean Central News Agency reported on Wednesday, referring to a test conducted the day prior, adding that the missile struck its target in the sea some 1,000 kilometers or 620 miles away. North Korea's Kim, who attended the test, underscored the need to strengthen strategic military power of the country both in quality and quantity, according to the outlet, which noted that the latest launch clearly proved the superb maneuverability of the hypersonic gliding warhead. I mean, see, they're getting help with this. Tuesday's weapon test comes just days after a similar launch off North Korea's east coast, the first of its kind of the year, which Pyongyang also said used a hypersonic missile. Military officials in South Korea noted some improvement made to the munition in the time since, saying it flew at a speed of Mach 10 or 10 times the speed of sound. The previous launch, which Kim was reported not present for, was said to have traveled at Mach 6. South Korean President Moon Jae-in voiced some alarm following the most recent test, calling it concerning, while asking officials to come up with necessary measures to ensure no further tension in inter-Korean relations and so that our people do not feel nervous. Washington's Indo-Pacific Command, meanwhile, said it was aware of Tuesday's test, claiming it highlighted the destabilizing impact of North Korea's illicit weapons program, which I want to comment on that. How can we say it's an illicit weapons control program, or weapons program? We are not their daddy. I don't get this. How can we say that about a sovereign nation? You know, I don't care what rules that Nato comes up with or UN or anything else like that. You can't tell a sovereign nation what they can and can't do. You can't. If they aren't actively engaging in harm to others, how do you say it's illicit? Anyway, and no, I'm not talking about the North Korean people or anything. That's starting to reach. They aren't bombing South Korea. They aren't bombing Japan. They aren't doing any of that yet. So I don't know. If I expect a free person to be a free person, if I expect as an individual to be left alone, and you better damn well believe I expect that a sovereign nation has that same right. I mean, anyway, it says, though added that the launch posed no threat to U.S. personnel or territory. Let me clarify that. That means this specific launch, because it went towards the Sea of Japan, I think it was. That's all that means. They're not saying that they don't have the capability to reach us. They're not saying anything like that, because that's actually been proven otherwise. They do absolutely at this point have intercontinental ballistic missile technology. We've already seen it. So now I'm not saying necessarily that these particular hypersonic weapons that they're testing have that capability to reach that far. I'm not saying they do or they don't, neither one, because I do not know. But I'm telling you, we better keep this on the burner. We better keep an eye on this, because this, if an EMP type event were to happen, this is how it's going to happen. It's going to happen with North Korea. So I don't see anybody else. I really don't see Iran pulling off an EMP to the United States. I could be wrong. And I'm not saying that that's not possible. I'm just saying, I don't see that as much likely. So I've got something else here to talk about. Let me have a sip of coffee. And I'm actually, to be honest, more concerned about that at this particular moment than what I am North Korea. In fact, I'm more concerned about this than I am North Korea or Russia and Ukraine, or even China and Taiwan. And I've long said this is what I'm concerned about the most, and that's right here. I'm sure you've heard other prepper channels and stuff like that talking about this. I'm going to bring it up too. And it says here, U.S. states to host simulated guerrilla war. Subheadline says residents in 2 states were told to watch out for occasional flares and mock gunfire as the military gears up for realistic combat drills. Does that make you feel any more comfortable? Says U.S. military is set to hold expansive combat drills across North and South Carolina, warning residents that special operations trainees may fire off blank rounds and flares while simulating battle against guerrilla forces. Dubbed Robin Sage, the unconventional warfare exercise will be held between January 22nd and February 4th on private land in dozens of counties in the American South, the John F. Kennedy Special Warfare Center and school said in a statement cited by local media. The drill will stage a mock fight with a resistance movement made up of guerrilla freedom fighters in the fictional nation of Pineland, which for some reason Pine Gap keeps coming to mind with that. I don't know why, and don't know there would be any correlation, but anyway, the Warfare Center said, noting that they will act as realistic opposing forces to the Special Ops candidates. Robin Sage serves as the final test in the Elite Special Forces Qualification Course, an intensive training program for the Army's Green Berets. Trainees will be placed in an environment of political instability characterized by armed conflict, which will force soldiers to analyze and solve problems in a real-world setting, all the while facing down guerrillas selected from Fort Bragg, as well as some specially trained civilian volunteers who will act as role players to add realism to the drill. The Special Warfare Center was quick to warn that residents may hear blank gunfire and see occasional flares during the exercise, adding that controls are in place to ensure there is no risk to persons or property. Though variations of the Robin Sage drill have been held since 1974, a previous iteration in 2002 saw a local sheriff's deputy fatally shot one soldier and seriously wound another, mistaking them for criminals. Since then, the military has prioritized advance public notice of the combat simulation in an effort to avoid similar tragedies, telling any concerned residents to contact local law enforcement officials who will immediately contact exercise control officials. Other safety measures to be implemented for this year's drill include formal written notification to local police and sheriff's departments and thorough briefing to all participants on what to do if they make contact with law enforcement, while students will also wear distinctive armbands to show they are taking part in the exercise. While the Special Forces School did not specify exact locations where the drill will be held, it noted that it would take place across 25 counties in North Carolina, including Wake County, its largest region by population, as well as 3 others in South Carolina. I'm telling you, these training exercises do not make me feel warm and fuzzy. Now again, they've been doing this since 1974, so at the same time, don't freak out. This isn't new, okay? And I know a lot of the different channels that have reported on this kind of make, anytime anything like this comes up, they very rarely ever mention that this is a periodic thing, almost to the point to where it's kind of normal. But what concerns me with this is all the other stuff, all the other legislation and stuff like that they're wanting to push through. I mean, just look at it. Look at the voting legislation that they want to put through. We already know that they want to mandate the hell out of us when it comes to vaccines. So think about all this stuff that they're trying to push through. that is what puts added concern to me with this. And then I made the report today on how, the Department of Justice now has a new crew to combat domestic terrorism. So you see, it's not just one thing. It's not just this exercise, which has been going on since 1974. It's the combination of all those things. But, I feel like I'm cheating you if I don't let you know that, hey, this is something that's been going on for a long time. I'm not downplaying it, and at the same time, I'm not going to dramatize it to you so that I can get a few more clicks. It's not what it's about. I'm here to do news. So, again, I wouldn't freak out over this, but it is concerning in light of a lot of the legislation that's going on. I caught a little bit about either one or, I don't know, one of these voting legislation things. And so now I'm going to get it, I'm not going to say the proper terms and all that. It's not going to be verbatim. But from what I understood, what it breaks down to is certain states that basically were known to support, I guess, more or less slavery is what it breaks down to. Then those states would, I guess, have to seek federal approval to change their voting laws. I may be a little bit off here, but I think I got the right direction. And I got to thinking of that, Okay, so basically what you're doing is you're taking the red states and you're making it to where they can't make any laws so that you can't cheat. To me, that's what it breaks down to. I don't think that's going to sit real well. It's absolutely ridiculous when you've got one side that's advocated for one main thing for a very, very long time. And I support that, and that's voter ID laws. And, you've got the right saying, or the left, saying, oh no, that's racist, that's this, that, and the other thing. It would disenfranchise voters and blah, blah, blah. Which I don't see how. Especially when the left demands ID for everything. I mean, think about it, okay? Think about this. What's the First Amendment? Freedom of speech. What's the Second Amendment? The right to bear arms. So, just in naming the top two, I would say that the founding fathers of this country put firearm ownership even above anything about voting. Okay? Which freedom of speech was even over that. So, and I do believe that they thought of that when they wrote the Bill of Rights. I do think that they put in order what they thought was the most important. And at least for the first 10 amendments. And so when I look at that, I think, you got to jump through all these different hoops to own a firearm, and this, that, and the other thing disqualifies you from owning a firearm. And in many places, it's damn near impossible to own a firearm. But yet, we can't ask to see somebody's ID before they vote. And what's worse than that is, as you know, there's already places that are putting it to where illegal, whatever you want to call them, illegal immigrants, whatever you want to call them, are allowed to vote. Now, there was a challenge that's in the news today. There is a challenge, I think it's New York, that was trying to put that in. That is being challenged. Where it's going to go, I don't know. But this is ridiculous. This is ridiculous. And this is concerning to me, because at some point, there's going to be enough people that are talking and decide, look, this has got to stop. And next thing you know, you've got your guerrillas. It's crazy. It's crazy. So, again, I don't want to over dramatize this like many are doing, because this is just a repeating drill. But at the same time, in the particular political climate that we are in, it's not something that we shouldn't mention at the same time. So don't go running around your house flailing your arms and screaming like some channels would like to see you do. So this I thought was pretty crazy. Yesterday I had talked about an airplane incident in LA, in which I commended the LAPD for the remarkable work in saving that pilot's life. And here we have an unbelievable air tragedy again, and could have been much more tragic. But a helicopter with an infant on board pulls off miracle crash landing. They're calling it a miracle crash landing. And I'll tell you what, that's pretty good. 4 people on board, pilot, 2 crew, and an infant patient. It was a med chopper. No life-threatening injuries. And you're looking at the image of the helicopter there. No life-threatening injuries. That is incredible. Praise Yah, and praise that incredible pilot. Now, mind you, these med choppers, most of the time, it's like the best of the best that are piloting them. These guys are good, guys and girls. They're good. They're incredible. A lot of them are pilots that have flown in combat, and they know their stuff. And so typically, if something goes wrong, if there's any way that they can do anything, they will. They're good. They're very competent, and this proves it. This was a suburb of Philadelphia, and that's a church right there that the helicopter is basically on its side in the front yard of. He was able to put that chopper down there, and like I say, no life-threatening injuries. That's incredible. When you're flying over a major city, you don't have a lot of options, especially in a helicopter. And I can't say what happened here or anything else. The only thing I can say is I suspect that he had to auto-rotate down. That's the only thing that I can say. I don't know that. I mean, but that's what it would seem to me. And wow, an incredible job. An absolutely incredible job. So hats off to that pilot. Let's see. I guess we'll cover this next. Washington says it won't consider Russian proposal to end NATO expansion. So this whole thing's been going a little bit back and forth, because one moment you'll hear something and you'll see it in the headlines. One moment you'll hear something that sounds kind of on the hopeful side, and then the next moment you'll hear something like that. We're gonna throw down. So again, I cover this stuff because it's important to take it all in. It's important to know what's going on, the back and forths and stuff like that. But I don't have a crystal ball, and nobody does. So nobody can tell you which one of these things are going to blow up first. Do I believe the Russia-Ukraine saga has an opportunity to blow up? Very much so. Very much so. Will that be the first thing that blows up? I have no idea. And neither does anybody else. We don't know. Anybody that tells you they do, they're full of it. That's like the economy. You got a lot of different channels coming out telling you, economy's going down. Well, you know what? I was preparing for the economy going down in 2008. Literally. That's when I started prepping, roughly. When I very first started prepping was when I saw the housing crisis. And I was concerned then about our nation's economy, and it still hasn't done a total crash. We still haven't defaulted. We still, you know what I mean? 2008, that's a little while ago. And so if they've managed to limp along the economy this far, then who am I to sit there and tell you that, oh, this year the economy's going to crash? It'll crash when they damn well want it to crash. They are in control of it. They print money at will. I mean, it's an absolute sham at this point. And because of that, nobody can accurately tell you when or where it's going to go down. It's a sham. So, I mean, how can you predict that? Got a few different things involving COVID. Not going to spend a long time on it. We'll get the headline and we'll get the heck out of here. Pope weighs in on morality of COVID vaccination. I hate doing this because I don't care what the Pope thinks. But nonetheless, we'll go there. The Pope has given his strongest backing yet to the COVID vaccine, siding with the Vatican's coronavirus advisory board and calling it a moral obligation, urging people to show respect for the health of others. Well, you know what, Mr. Pope on a rope? You know what is a moral obligation? Not touching little boys. We could start with that. How about actually doing something about the many, many cases that have already been brought forward, instead of just shuffling around your clergy and trying to shove everything under the rug? That, I think, is a bit more of a moral obligation than me getting a shot in the arm. I'm just saying. I mean, you kind of weigh one and the other. Yeah, I think I'm accurate. This stuff makes me sick. This makes me sick. And we allow it. That's the sad thing. We allow it. Believe me, nothing's being done to stop the Catholic Church. Nothing. Oh, you got a whole lot of people profiting from the aftermath of what's going on. One of them I mentioned earlier at the beginning of the show. You've got a whole lot of that. People's always got their hand out saying, we're going to fix it. We just need more money. That reminds me, I need a jet plane. God said that I need a jet plane. So, yeah, I need a jet plane. Well, Biden said I needed an F-15. Come on, I'm trying to justify this. I need like $3.5 billion. I need it by the end of, before the end of next Tuesday. I need a jet. Man, I mean, it is that crazy. It is truly that crazy. It's nuts. No, I don't need a jet plane. I'd like a jet plane, but I can't fly it. Not like legally or nothing. Let's see. I wouldn't do it. Seriously, if you put me in a jet, say you put me in a jet, even if you started the thing for me, because don't believe for a second in Flight Simulator that I learned how to start it up properly, and you can if you want, but I don't. I like to fly like an idiot. That's what Mike does. He flies like an idiot. And, yeah, I ain't got time for that button pressing and all that. Spawn me in on the runway, kick in the afterburner, let's go. Yeah, I need a jet, right? But I'd never take one up because there just ain't no damn way. Ultralights? Yeah, I'll fly ultralights. They don't drop like a rock. Anyway, new documents allege Fauci funded gain-of-function research in China. This guy is all over the news again today. Rand Paul once again grilled this guy. I do not think that they should be letting this guy get away with what they are. They already know that he's lied to Congress. I mean, it's not even a guess. It's not an exaggeration or anything like that. It's plain as day. He has directly lied to Congress. Why is this guy still walking the streets? Why is this guy still making $450,000 a year? And why is he still in charge of the cluster F that's going on right now? It's mind-blowing to me. And once again, yeah, we do allow it. We do allow it. What do you mean, Watchman? How can you say we allow it? How many people do you see in the streets raising hell? We allow it. And then we have this, and this, in all fairness, has to do with Canada, although it's not any different here either, or anywhere else around the world. Nearly half of Ontario's COVID-19 patients admitted for reasons unrelated to virus. And there's still a big argument about this, whether or not, how to count this person in this situation, how to count that person. Let's be realistic here. And I'm just saying, I mean, we've got a friend right this very moment and if you would please pray for her. We've got a friend right this very moment, right? That's in the hospital with COVID. And so, like I say, if you are so inclined, please say a word or two. My longest friend, I think, that I still talk to, because I don't really talk to a whole lot of people. I'm not a very sociable person. I to be honest, I ain't got patience for much bullshit. And so there's not a lot of people I really talk to. And I've known her since I was a teenager, and I had a feeling the other night. Well, when I spoke to her, she said she was sick, and she said she took a home test, and it was negative. But I had a feeling that the home test was just not accurate. So yeah, and I'm concerned. She's not a spring chicken, so at the same time she doesn't suffer the major comorbidities, if I said that correctly. So I think she'll be fine, but it's still concerning, Let's see. I couldn't hear you, so I gotta go look over. Oh wow, that's crazy. Well, we'll be praying for her as well. So, absolutely. So it's something, I've long said, that it's one of those things that I wish they would stop using it as a method to gain more control. But at the same time, we do need to be, there are individuals that need to be concerned about this and need to be protected. Just a fact. I don't believe it's anybody else's job to provide that protection. However, some people will obviously need to be assisted. And what I mean by that is not everybody can just say, I'm just not going to go to work, right? So there may be a lot of people, and I'm sure there are a lot of people that are higher on the risk scale, so to speak, that, they have to go to work. And unfortunately, being around other people is how you catch it. So we need to figure stuff out. We need to protect those that are being protected, or need protected, but at the same time, we need to stop mandating stuff and shutting down the country, because guess what? There's a much larger majority of individuals in this country that are not in a high-risk category. And so instead of changing the world to take care of the few, we need to just make changes to take care of the few. Let the world go back to the way it was as best possible. Let people go back to work. Stop the mandate madness. And, again, protect and take care of those that are actually at risk, because it is a serious thing. It is an absolutely serious thing, but not threatening to every single person in the world. And some of the policies and stuff like that they're coming up with is just plain out nonsensical. It really truly is. You can tell, especially at this point, that there's absolutely ulterior motives beyond what they say. So let me have a sip of coffee. Anyway, don't know what else. Don't really know of anything else. Let me go ahead and read down the headlines, and we'll get those out of the way. Close up a Wednesday night. I've already got trash out, so I don't got to run do that after the show. I normally, for some reason, I just wait until after the show, but tonight I didn't, and then I just sat there and, well, actually, I watched the local news on TV. I actually brought that up. I just wanted to see what they were saying. It's been a while since I have. I watched a couple videos, and then, like I say, I realized at 10 minutes till, I haven't gotten ready for the show yet. It happens. I don't know if I covered this last night. I think it was, wait a minute, I did. Hang on. I think these two I did not. Voting groups vow to boycott Biden's speech. EU Parliament president dies at 65. Now, you may not remember, I was talking about this yesterday on yesterday's show because I thought it sounded real interesting the way that this was worded. I'll just read the first paragraph here, and it includes what I was pointing out yesterday. The EU Parliament president has died in an Italian hospital where he was being treated since late December, his spokesman said. The official was suffering from a serious complication resulting from an immune system condition. I mean, that could mean a lot of different things, right? I don't know this guy's medical history or anything like that, but, yeah, I have to say it makes me a bit curious. So anyway, and now from today, well, let's see, I covered that. Chicago teachers agree to resume in-person lessons. U.S. airline promises non-binary options after discrimination accusation. I mean, this is, when do we say enough? Again, this will stop when we say stop. But until there are people in the streets raising hell, we're just playing. I don't know what else to do. I don't know what else to say, right? Calling your Congress, the only way that calling your congressman or woman will do is if a ton of people are doing it. If they're getting so overwhelmed with phone calls and stuff like that, they're like, well, if my ass wants to be in office next election, I better listen. That's the only way that works. And getting that many people interested enough to even pick up a phone? Come on. I've long pointed out how it is so easy to fill, or it used to be anyway, to fill a stadium for a sports event, but yet you can't even come close to bringing that many people together for a rally, for something that's truly important. hey, I can't do nothing about the way it is. All I can do is show people how it is, and hopefully we can maybe learn something and understand that if we want freedom, it doesn't come free. And we have to fight to keep every ounce of it. And we haven't fought to keep it in a very long time. Something about trees and blood of patriots. I don't know. Speaking of blood, U.S. blood supply is the lowest in recent years. And it's not because we're watering the trees with tyrants. Russia and China set new historical records, says Moscow. Nord Stream 2 still does not meet EU requirements, says Berlin. Kazakhstan reveals departure of Russian-led forces. Let's see. North's missile tests threaten peace, says South Korea. 20 million on lockdown after Omicron alert. Now this is in China. I know some people are freaking out about this. It's okay. It's China. We're talking about the same country that were welding people into apartment buildings to prevent them from going out and spreading it further. We're talking about people that built a hospital, a COVID hospital, that amazingly burned to the ground, just like many hotels where they were housing those infected with COVID. They kind of seem to take some extreme measures to contain these things on the regular. So the fact that they are locking down 20 million people doesn't even cause me to bat an eye. That's what China does. So I wouldn't freak out. I wouldn't think that we've got some superhuman or super viral whatever. I mean, some people have taken this stuff to extremes, and this is how China is. This is how they do it. They've got this policy about stamping it out, even if that means burning it down. They've got this policy about stamping it out, and I kind of see some of it. Not welding people in their apartment buildings or burning down hospitals or hotels or nothing like that, but I mean, that's kind of the smart way, to get a hold of it before it starts causing damage. Lockdowns are a good thing if they're done in time. But that's the problem. They're not done in time. I know the United States, it seems they give it plenty of time to spread good, and then they want to talk about starting to lock things down. But they let it get out there first. And I've watched them with H1N1, H5N1, Ebola. I watched them sit back and sit on their hands and not do a damn thing until they gave it a chance to spread first. And then they decide that they might want to start taking measures. Yeah, I really don't trust the way the United States handles this. Again, aside from the diabolical things that China does, their idea of a hard stamp on it is common sense. That's how you would stop a viral spread. But anyway, most important scientific mission for Russia in 2022 is named. They're going to name it after me. No, I don't know what they're going to name it. I don't know. I actually didn't read the article. Germany must treat Ukraine like Israel, says Kiev. Crypto ATMs in hot water for alleged human and drug trafficking. International travel to recover soon, says the forecast. I don't know whose forecast, but somebody. Major retailer imposes purchase limits on toilet paper. Damn them. That's in Australia, by the way. Coles. Taiwanese F-16 fighter jet vanishes, and don't think anything. I didn't take it. I said I want a jet. I need a jet. Crypto CEO is now one of the world's richest. Let's see, I covered this earlier. UK government's lockdown breaching party sparks WTF reaction. The UK pretty much sparks a WTF reaction for me. Presidential hopeful says no to politically correct propaganda in schools. WHO gives grim prediction on Omicron spread. Pope weighs in on morality of COVID vaccination. I read that one earlier. Sorry. Millionaire murderer caught on hot mic dies in prison. Russia's spoon-fed security proposals to U.S. at summit, says the media. Police pepper spraying violent hooligans at anti-lockdown march. This is Germany. In the state of Saxony, it says. Let me have a sip. I guess the city of Botzen. Something like that. Country shatters records with 1.35 million daily COVID cases. I'll try that again. Ivy League schools acting like price-fixing cartel, a lawsuit says. Kind of think that pretty much all these universities, colleges, and stuff like that is, it's sickening what they want. Mega merger in peril over EU energy fears. Tucker Carlson compares Pelosi to Michael Jackson. What do you think? I think, possibly. Model sues company over look-alike sex doll. Now, that may be one headline, but let me tell you, things could get worse. Things could get very, very much worse. Russian TikTok star denied entry by Ukraine. Global financial body issues forecast on pandemic recovery. Omicron revelation surfaces in Canadian wastewater. Intel called out for cowardice by U.S. Senator. Charlie Hebdo attack anniversary marked by controversy. Let's see. I covered that. Washington says it won't consider Russian proposal to end NATO. I think I covered that. Gitmo as American as apple pie, says former inmate. Country short on chicken and Omicron is to blame. They're talking about Australia here. However, I don't know. We haven't been shopping yet. I don't know how things are here, but I know here, at least for the past few months, there hasn't been nearly as much. We just get the boneless chicken breasts, but that's been kind of hard to come by. So hopefully I can get some this month because we're getting low. Law allowing non-citizens to vote in U.S. is challenged in court. That was what I was talking about earlier. Russia and China should fight against external forces in Central Asia, says Beijing. GOP candidate wants ban on Chinese students in Texas. Monster black hole found in dwarf galaxy. At least they're not talking about Uranus. WHO warns we're not ready to treat COVID like the flu. Uncontrolled fire decimates homes in slum. That was in Chile. Russia could soon get, I'm just repeating it, kicking the balls, says MEP. Kazakhstan shows U.S. influence is on the wane. Probably didn't need a news report to know that. U.S. Constitution backs ban on Black Lives Matter masks, grocery chain claims. A condom giant hit by COVID lockdowns. So make sure you're stocked up. America torpedoed Nord Stream 2 for its own interests, says Saxony PM. Signal CEO resigns, WhatsApp co-founder to take over. Russia hits back at U.S. disinformation accusations. U.S. and Russia have already agreed Ukraine will never join NATO, Kiev MP claims. So, again, so much back and forth. I wouldn't hold a lot of weight on any of it. You know, it's kind of one of those you just kind of wait and see kind of things. Keep getting ready and wait and see. Elderly man gets 12 COVID vaccines in 1 year. I mean, this is ridiculous. It really, truly is. I think the way that the fear has been pushed, I think should be criminal. I think that media outlets need to be criminally charged. I think that man right there on the screen needs to be criminally charged. He needs to be put in Gitmo. That's my honest feelings. We need to take people like that and put them in Gitmo. That's what it's there for, right? Domestic terrorists? That's what I thought, right? Well, not necessarily domestic, but I mean terrorist. Yeah. Well, when you put fear into lives of a population for political gain, right? That is called terrorism. CNN wonders whether media is out of touch. No. New documents allege Fauci funded gain-of-function research in China. Afghanistan's envoy to China steps down after months without pay. World's most powerful passports revealed. WHO experts criticize repeated booster strategy. Italian police uncover fake green passes network. Let's see. Talked about that. U.S. sets new record for COVID-19 hospitalizations. Talked about that. British monarch's residence to become no-fly zone. Pedophilia is misunderstood, USA Today claims, and then deletes the tweets. Unvaccinated to face special tax in Canada. Saudi-led coalition accused of trying to pass Iraq war footage as evidence in Yemen. I thought that was crazy. But will anything be done? Nah. Not on our end. Except we'll funnel them more money and weapons and all that good stuff. Judge rules on Facebook antitrust lawsuit. North Korea, I've already covered that. Let's see. Biden backs calls to abolish key Senate procedure. Covered that. And that. And that is it. There were no more headlines that came out while I was doing the show. But as you can see, absolutely the frequency of news is starting to pick back up quite a bit over the last 2 days. And I think you're going to see it continue to pick up. And I think you're going to continue to see it get crazier. So, it's just what it is. So, I think this year is going to be a hell of a year. And I'm not going to sit here and try to make predictions on what's going to happen, what's not going to happen. But I really believe it's going to be a doozy. And, man, I just don't get the feeling like we've got a lot of time left to be prepared. I do not get that feeling at all. So keep at it. Keep at it like never before. Try to make the best decisions you can in prepping. Especially, if you're like us and you don't have tons of money to spend on it and that, you have to really put it where it counts. And so I would urge you to do so. If if you're lacking in food, for your preparedness, then I would focus. I would focus on what's most important, and food's pretty important. So make sure you're getting ready. Make sure you're focusing on what you need over what you want, and just keep at it. Just keep at it. I mean, work like you've never worked before to get ready. So, because I can't predict what's going to come or when, but I really got this nagging feeling we ain't got a whole long time left. So, anyway, I'm going to get out of here for the night. I appreciate you coming. God willing, we'll be back tomorrow. We'll do it again. I hope to see you then. As always, God bless you. We love you. Be one with your spirit. And shalom.